What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mo.J. We are locked in. This is episode 3, North Carolina, the Underground Railroad. Now, if you know, the end of episode 2, South Carolina, we got on that train because they were doing all kinds of experiments down in South Carolina. We can't even have no kids on the compound. So we had to dip up out of there. Plus the bounty hunter, Ridgeway, was on his way. So before we get into today's episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of this, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. We on the road to 6,000 subscribers. Now, this is North Carolina. We know we got on that Underground Railroad. Young man drove us all the way over there. We in the back of the train, buckled up because we shaking and stuff. But we got there. And that's where we pick up today. Episode 3, North Carolina, the Underground Railroad. We finally get to North Carolina, but we don't know that it's North Carolina yet. When we get here, the whole cave has fell in on itself. So now Cora's looking around like, is this it? This is the only place we can go? And the conductor, the young guy's like, yeah, man, this is it. This is the end. I got to go back. I got other runs to make. So Cora's like, I want to go back with you. And he's saying, nah, you can't come back with me because he already illegally transported a body. Now, he said the people up under the age, like the legal age, so I'm just going to say 18. Anyone up under that, they can only move cargo on the Underground Railroad, not people. So he tells her to sit here and wait for the next train guy to come down, but you can't come back with me. Before he leaves, he tells her, you a long way from Georgia, wherever you're from, because this North Carolina, but if you made it this far, you must be tough. So good luck out there, and I got to go. She starts walking around and exploring because she can hear like some water or something. She goes over there and it's like a little tunnel. And it's like, hey, man, it's better than nothing. All she has is this lantern. She has to wait for the train man to come down, whoever's at this stop, and talk to her and tell her what's next. The train man actually comes down and he has a ledger. Now, we know that they got to document everyone that's being transported. So when he comes down, he tells her straight up, look, you can't be here. You got to go somewhere, but you cannot be here. We're not accepting anybody else. I'm just bringing this book down because it is dangerous where we are. And I don't want no more parts to do with this Underground Railroad. But he writes her name down in the book because he still has to document that somebody was transported here. So she gives her name, Cora. Remember, she goes by Betsy in South Carolina, but her name is Cora. So when she's here, she's giving Cora. She even talks about Caesar, but Caesar's still back there. We don't know what happened to him. He tells her it's very, very dangerous. And all she's doing is pulling on his arm, talking about, I can't stay down here. Ma'am, you're going to have to walk back down that train track because where we live, it is bad up there. But he convinces her, hey, you got to leave. But she just keeps fighting. So he's like, all right, he takes her. And you can see that they're walking through the mud in the little river, the little creek, walking back to their town. But there's a little more about this town that we need to know about. The town that they're in is in North Carolina. North Carolina has made a law that Negroes are banished. You can't have any Negroes anywhere visibly or they're going to die. And what this is Freedom Trail. And what they have here is whenever they catch a black person, they hang them and leave them in the trees. So the trail coming into the town that this man Martin lives in, you see all of these black people hanging. So you don't get any ideas about harboring black people or being a black person coming into this town. It's bad, but it's a warning shot to everybody. Know, hey, don't even mess with this town here. Seriously. Martin makes it into the town. Now she's in the back of the wagon up under some covers. She tries to get up. He's like, nope, you got to stay here until I come and get you, because he doesn't want to be seen with no Negroes because it's going to get ugly for everybody. So he tells her to stay in the shed. He locks it up and he leaves. But of course, instead of just laying there and being quiet, Cora gets up. And that's one thing about Cora. She does a lot of complaining and a lot of moving around, and that always comes back and it punishes somebody. Martin goes and makes sure that the scene is safe. You always got to make sure the scene is safe before you do anything you know you ain't supposed to do. So you looking outside, trying to figure out if anybody's looking or not. But he comes back for Cora because he's about to take her into the house. We see Martin's wife. Now, this is their little church area. So all of the women, they all come over here. They all clean it up. They make sure that the church area is real nice. So you'll see them sweeping it up. But it's also like a shrine. So they all come and bring a lantern or a candle. Sorry about that. A lantern or a candle. And they leave it there. And it's pretty much like their offering. You know what I'm saying? It's a shrine. You know what I'm saying? We're paying our respects to the church. Martin has Cora in the house changing clothes because he has to hide her. He can't just have her out in the house. So of course there's going to be a stash area somewhere in the house because obviously if he's working with the Underground Railroad, he's done this before. He's harbored a couple of blacks before. But his wife comes in. He's like, her baby, I got something to tell you. She's like, Martin, what did you do? Martin, what did you do? Ethel loses it. She goes in the room and she sees Cora in there changing. And she's like, Martin, what did you do? Why did you bring her here? And Martin's like, well, I couldn't leave her down there. She was going to die. It wouldn't have been good. I couldn't leave her down there. And obviously they done this before because Ethel said, you weren't going to do this anymore. You've already done this. But it's very, very dangerous in this town and in the state of North Carolina. You can't be Negro. And you bring him into your house, that's only wishing for trouble. So they end up putting Cora in the attic, but there's actually a crawl space on top of the attic. So you go in the attic and then there's another spot at the top that they're going to hide her in. Before he brought her to the house, he told her, you are not my slave, but you have to listen to every single thing I tell you to do. That's the only way we're going to be able to make it with you in this place. So you'll be upstairs all day and I'll feed you in the evening. Before Martin sends her up in the crawl space, he tells her Grace will guide you. Now, when she gets up into the crawl space, there's a young girl up there. We don't know her name, so we're just going to assume that this is Grace and Grace will guide you, unless he's talking about the church. The Grace from church will guide you. Either way, this young girl tells her, hey, don't step right there because that crawl board is loud. Don't do that. That's where you use the bathroom at back there. I keep the rag on, especially in the summertime. You get hot and stinky in this thing. Make sure it is covered. So Cora's like, how long you been up here? And the young girl's like, look, don't even worry about that. I've been up here for a while, but I'm not trying to end up hung. So listen to what I got to say and let's get it done. So I salute this young woman right here. Ethel calls Cora down. She, get your ass down here. I guess Nicholas got to eat too. So she gives her some food and Cora's sitting there, but she hasn't ate it. And she's like, are you hungry? I would have been like, hell yeah. I sure is hungry, boss, cause shit, you up in that damn attic, it's hot as hell up there, you smell piss all day, forget that, I'd be chowing down. Now Ethel tells her, look, don't get too comfortable because we have an Irish lady that comes over, cleans, does a little bit of cooking, and at any moment if she hears you or finds you, she will turn you in. And if she turns you in, we all getting killed and hung. So you need to be quiet up there and do what I say. Martin is asleep right now, so I'm in charge. It's church day. We outside. We all in our finest clothes. Well, I'm not out there because I'm black and they'd have me strung up. But we all out there. They got on their Sunday's finest. It's dusty as hell. You see all this dirt everywhere. And you got the good pastor up there and talking to the folks. And guess who he's introducing? The preacher introduces these bounty hunters. Now, there's a young dude named Richard. He helped the bounty hunters, and the bounty hunters act like they're celebrities. They saluting the crowd and stuff, getting a round of applause because they caught a black lady within the city limits. Now, we know that they're not supposed to be here, and I always tell you guys I'm not going to go into the graphic and the detailed pictures, so they end up getting rid of this young lady. I'm sorry, but that's what they did. They end up killing the young lady that they captured. Now, Grace and Cora, there's a little hole up in the ceiling that they're looking out of. And they're looking, and the kid tells her, oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Whenever they catch a black person, they kill them in front of everybody before they hang them up. So Cora, she's looking like, oh. And she's shocked like she's never seen anyone killed before. Showing too much emotion. You got to be quiet up here. You experienced this. I know it's tough, but you got to be strong to try to make it through this because you're in survival mode now. When you're up in that attic, you gotta shh during the daytime, and you just gotta put all that stress and all that hurt behind you because you gotta survive. At the Martin house, they have a little get together for some of the higher ups in the town. Now we got the preacher over here, we got Martin in here, we got a couple of the bounty hunters, but Martin, his wife brings him in some drinks, but he starts to talk about, oh, I'm just thinking about that girl from earlier. Do you guys think maybe we should start doing things a little bit differently? Maybe not killing people, maybe just exiling them out of here? You know, just changing up for our community, you know what I'm saying, to progress further. And everyone's looking around like, why would we do that? Like, this is what God wants. God wants us to be pure. God wants it to be white people on America, just like he planned it. But God didn't plan that. That's why he put Native Americans here, not white folk. After they tell Martin about this, they start looking at him like, "Hey, man, what's wrong with you? You were a nigger lover?" And Martin, he knows that he can't come off like that, so he just says, "No, I was just thinking about it. I'm not saying let's do it. I was just thinking about it," because he doesn't want to get his family killed or have them run up in the house and start searching around and start thinking maybe Martin is doing something with black folk. So he just like, nah, I was just saying, it was just a thought. Now, these two BFFs, Cora and Grace, they're in the crawl space and they're up there. And Grace, she knows a little bit more than Cora. So she knows when anybody's in the house. You've been up there so long, you can just hear, okay, I know such and such is gone at this time. I know the cleaning girl, the little Irish girl, she ain't gonna be here. But Cora, she pulls out her okra. Remember, she took that from it was buried in a thing. Now she has it. And Grace is saying, hey, you should plant that stuff. Cause I know what it is. You should plant it instead of just having it. So at least we have something else in here. But Cora's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. All that moving around and taking the seeds of the okra out, one of them falls through the crawl space. And guess who's in the attic? The Irish girl. Now they all quiet in the crawl space, but the Irish girl, I don't know what she's up here doing. She's snooping around. She seems very nosy. But what does she do? She finds one of them on the floor and she's starting to think, why would this be in the attic? It's not like someone's gonna bring some food up here and then just drop it. So did it come from above? But she doesn't know about the empty crawl space up there. But now she's starting to get a little too nosy for my liking. Martin is getting paranoid. He's getting nervous. You remember at the beginning of the episode when he came back down to the train station, he told her, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just leaving this book. Well, he goes back to where the Underground Railroad is with some dynamite, and he ends up blowing up the entrance to how you get down into the railroad. Now, we've seen that it was already blown up on the inside. So it looks like Martin is like, man, I'm stopping all this. I'm trying to make it to be no trace of it because I don't want anything to come back on me, because he's getting very paranoid. You already got the church people thinking, man, what's wrong with Martin? He changed up on us. He's talking about let's save niggers. No. Martin said, to hell with that. They been up here so long. Cora's starting to get sick. She in the corner coughing and stuff. Grace is like, hey, man, it was peaceful before you came. But I don't know if this is from something from South Carolina or is it just her being up in this attic and not eating as much? Because you remember in South Carolina, they was living all right. Yeah, there was experiments on them, but they were living all right. They were learning how to read, write. They were treated like somewhat like humans. But now she's up here sick. Martin kicks the Irish girl out. He comes over with a plate of chicken, talking about, hey, y'all, I got some chicken. She like, man, forget that chicken. I need to get up out this crawl space. I'm sick, hot, and I need some fresh air. Grab the box so I can get down. But that's why black folks like chicken so much, because that's all we had when we was around on the plantation. Chicken was just so easy and readily available to get to. I love me some chicken, but it gotta have some seasoning. That chicken don't look like it got any seasoning on it. Now she's sitting down on the box, because when you come down out the attic, you need to stand on the box so you won't just drop straight down to the floor. And she's telling Martin, hey, we got to figure out when we're going to leave. We got to get up out of here ASAP. And Martin's like, nah. Sit here. I told you not to come in the first place, but you're going to have to sit here and let me figure this out. But I left you some bath water. It may not be warm anymore, but you need to take a bath. I'm going to leave the fire on, but don't light no candles and walk around this house, because if somebody sees you in here, that's all of us. Now, our good white folk, they got the pastor out. They got a bonfire going on. He's reading some passages out of the Bible, but of course he's misinterpreting them. And pretty much he has everyone throw away your propaganda. Saying blacks should be free, blacks are humans. Throw that stuff away. If it's in the newspaper, get rid of it. Any book that you're reading pretty much saying that blacks are equivalent to whites, get rid of it, because it's lies. We're better than it, and we're pure. We're white people, we're pure. So they're throwing away everything, just listening to this nonsense. But that just shows you how this town is. North Carolina prohibits blacks. They're going to kill them. In this town, they just don't accept it at all. Cora up there, and I'm talking about she going through it, stomach hurting, she's sweating and stuff. The little kid don't know what the hell to do, because hell, I wouldn't know what to do. We up there, she just moaning and groaning. All I can do is try to fan you off and hey, shh. At least put like a cover over something over your mouth. But I'm gonna cool you down. But that's all I can do. You have to drink that lemon juice in the morning when Martin brings it. And then we get a random flashback of her back on the plantation in the cotton field. I guess this is signifying how strong she is and where she is now from where she came from. Other than that, I don't know why this is in here and what it signifies. But I guess it's just her thinking of, hey, That's where I was. This is where I'm at. I got to make it up out of here. I got to stay strong. The little Irish girl is still at the house. Now, Martin knows that Cora is sick. So what does he do? He makes himself throw up so they can get the Irish girl to leave and say, oh, he's too sick. Don't worry about it. We'll clean it up. We don't want you to get sick. Don't come back until we let you know that you can come back. Martin is very sick, so they get her up out of here so he can go and tend to Cora. Martin and his wife, they're having a real heart-to-heart at this point. Now, he's trying to tell her, what other option did I have? Was I just going to leave her out there and let her die? And Ethel, she's saying, you know what? I would show some pity to you, but you were too damn pitiful. And she gets up and leaves because she's telling him, why would you bring another black person here when we already have one in the attic and we haven't got rid of her yet? We don't have any plan. This is dangerous. This is pretty much suicide, bringing them into our houses. And she leaves, but Martin has a heart, and he wasn't just going to leave a lady out in the railroad at the train station by herself, or just let her walk around the woods, because that's just going to automatically end up dead. Someone's going to find her and it's over with. But it turns out the next morning, Ethel actually helps Cora out. Now, she calls her a heathen, but she returns to the Bible and says, you know, I have to still treat everybody with the same kind of respect, even if they are black and Negroes and bonitas. So she's actually taking care of her. Now, she's saying some things that are uplifting her, but for the most part, they're all jabs at her for being black and for her being, you know, still upset that there's a black girl in the house and it's potentially a chance for us to get killed over this. Ethel tells Cora, you're here because there's always an answer in the scripture. So God actually sent you here for me. She also hands her a Bible and saying, hey, can you read that and understand that on your own? Like, can you comprehend that? And Cora's like, yeah, I can read. So like I said, she's still throwing a little jabs because they're black, but she's at least doing the bare minimum to help. And then she just gives Cora a big hug because she feels like you might be the answer. You might be, quote unquote, our good luck. But we know how Cora feels about luck. She's nobody's good luck. She told Caesar that in the beginning of the episode 1. She tells Cora, you're damned, but you can still be saved. And what it looks like is she's performing a baptism. She go ahead and put on her little crucifix, puts a little bit of water on her head, and you, my girl, have been baptized. Dum dum dum. I gotta get that sound effects, because guess who pulled up? Ridgway, the Negro hunter, him and his little guy Homer. Now they go over and they talk to Martin. We know Martin is playing this role of, oh, I'm sick, so he's sitting outside, and they say, yeah, there's a runaway Negro, and they actually killed a little white boy. And Martin's like, oh, well, there ain't no black folk around here, you know, they not allowed. But Ridgway, he doesn't take things lightly. He's looking at him like, nah, something ain't sitting right with this gentleman here. Martin sees that they're not believing what he's talking about, so he has to cause a distraction or something to get him away from the house. So what does he do? He stands up, he starts coughing. And he falls on Ridgway to try to get him away from the house. While all that's going on, Ridgway sneaks into the house. Now he's walking around. We seen him at the museum walking around. He's just doing his own thing. He sneaks in there. When he gets in there, he points and he ain't got any words. He turns around. Boss, she's in there. She's in there. With all this going on, Cora actually comes outside because she doesn't want to give up that Grace is in the attic. So she comes outside and everybody in the village is, oh my God, who is that black person? Now they was already trying to get Homer, but we know Homer, he's solidified. He's with Ridgway and he's pretty much protected. And ain't nothing gonna happen to Homer at all. But Cora comes outside and now Ridgway saying, oh, that's the property right there. That's mine right there. He gets on the stair and say, this is my property according to Georgia. And he pulls out the little wanted poster and he's letting everybody know. But what they want to know, you remember he said there was talks about Underground Railroad. He never seen it. He'll believe it if he sees it. So they go over to Martin and saying, hey, where did she come from? He's like, man, listen to me. There's a railroad. There is a railroad. The little Irish girl, she spits on Ethel when she's getting drug off because they about to hang her ass up. She throws a lantern on the house and the house catches on fire. If you remember, Grace is in the attic, so Grace is about to die. This is the second person Cora done got killed. You remember Lovey in the woods when they ran away? First episode, she talking about, now let's bring her. Cora is nobody's good luck, not at all. They get to where the railroad station is, but when they get there, you remember it's blown up. Martin already blew it up because he knew something like this would happen. He didn't want anyone to be able to find it and then say, hey, somebody in the town is doing this. So when they get there, Ridgway, he's looking at it like, nah, man, it ain't there. Why is it blown up? Because he wants to get down there and see and trace it back to all the stops that it goes to. They get up there. They're trying to find a way to get in this. There's got to be something. But you remember when I told you earlier, Cora, she found a little hole and with some water coming through. So what do? They make Homer put on his pajamas, his underclothes, take off his good suit, his good hat, and go ahead and climb on down there and see what you see, boy. Little Homer climbs down there in his undergarments, no hat, got his lantern scratching his butt. I'm like, dang. But he's looking around and he's doing everything that boss wants him to do. And he's looking, he's like, dang, there's some real train tracks down here. Somebody really went to work down here. They go ahead and kill Martin. And he gives a little prayer, forgive me, Father. Pow! To the back. Cora asks Ridgway, how did you find me? And he's like, I don't think I found you. I think you found me. Now listen to me, people. He gave back the first slave to Terrence. The reason he did that is because remember Cora's mother ran away. He was supposed to chase Cora's mother. So he said, I'll give you this one free. I just want to go capture that one. So I guess he's going to take Cora to help find her mother because he wants to turn the mother in. Now you remember he said that you may feel betrayed that your mom left you. So all of this is connecting together. They're going to need each other to get what they want. There you go. Episode 3, North Carolina. North Carolina is way different than South Carolina. Trust me, you ain't trying to be caught in North Carolina. Never, ever, 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 ever. But let me know what y'all think. Do you think that it's on Cora for getting Grace killed like that? Let me know what y'all think below. But that's episode 3. Stay tuned for episode 4. I'm Mo.J. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.